Alright, so Tim Burton recently did the movie called Big Eyes, which was an excellent film, really great. And Johnny Depp also did the movie Black Mass, where he played Whitey Bulger. A very great role for him. The movie itself was not perfect, but his acting was excellent in the film. Both of these movies are great step forwards for these two celebrities in the movie industry. What is their next film? A giant step backwards into garbage with Alice in Wonderland, Alice Through the Looking Glass. Through the Looking Glass, produced by Tim Burton this time, not directed. The director this time is director James Bobin, who directed the first Muppet film. And this movie brings back Maya Wachowski as Alice, Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter, Helena Bonham Carter as the Queen of Hearts, Anne Hathaway as the White Queen, Queen of Hearts' sister. The newest character this movie also introduces is Sacha Baron Cohen's character, Time. And then there are the smaller characters played by other actors. So I'm not going to go too much into depth with these other characters. Let's get into the plot of this movie. This movie takes up where the last one left off. Alice is now a ship captain. She comes home to visit her mother and see how she's doing. Finds out her mother has been forced to sell all her assets in order to survive, and she's got to find a way to regain these assets. She finds out the deed to her ship may be in jeopardy, so she's got to find a way to keep ownership of her ship and try to gain ownership of her home from the guy that once proposed to her in the first film. Meanwhile, she is being called back to Wonderland by the caterpillar, who is voiced by Alan Rickman. So she walks through a mirror and goes back into Wonderland and finds out the Mad Hatter is dying. He believes he has found signs that show his family may still be alive, but nobody believes him. When Alice sees this paper hat that the Mad Hatter has, which he believes proves that his family's still alive, she doesn't believe it either, but then realizes maybe the family is still alive, and so she realizes she has to go back in time, uses the power of time travel in order to find out what happened to Mad Hatter's family. And in order to do this, she has to confront Time itself, or Time himself, played by Sacha Baron Cohen. Through this, we find out that Time is now having a relationship with the Queen of Hearts, so this is how Helena Bonham Carter comes back into the movie. So Alice has to reconfront the Queen of Hearts, and of course Anne Hathaway comes back as the Queen of Hearts' sister, the White Queen, and that's pretty much our film. This movie is terrible. I did not like the previous Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland movie. The first movie was really confusing because they made it as a sequel to the animated film rather than making it as a remake of the animated film, and that made it very confusing. Then there's the fact that the special effects look so bad, the way each character looks, the way Tweedledee and Tweedledum look, the way the Queen of Hearts looks with such a big head and such a small body. You wonder how the hell can the Queen of Hearts walk around with such a big head and such a petite body. This whole movie is so dumb. The acting in this movie was terrible, with Anne Hathaway going like this and Helena Bonham Carter really overacting and screaming, "Oh, with your hands!" And the special effects on some of the other characters, it really just didn't work out for me. I just didn't really like the first movie. And Maya Wachowski was so wooden in the first movie as Alice. However, in this movie, Alice is much more charismatic. Maya Wachowski is acting much better in this film, so she's grown much more into her role. However, the rest of the actors are really hamming it up very much. Johnny Depp looks silly and stupid as the Mad Hatter with his face paint, and it's just such a terrible movie. This movie, it feels like such a step backwards for Tim Burton and Johnny Depp to go back, and for Johnny Depp to go back in this role with face makeup again, when he just did an amazing performance as Whitey Bulger, and for Tim Burton to go back to doing a children's film again, when the last two times he did a children's film, he did terribly. He did amazingly bad with the Willy Wonka film, and Alice in Wonderland, as I just said, is horrible. So for him to come back and do another movie just because of how much money the previous film made is just stupid. It's dumb. The reviews were terrible for Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland film. And this movie is no better. It is horrible. The acting in this movie is still bad. The characters don't look very well with the special effects. And Sacha Baron Cohen is pretty good actually as Time. I did like his character, and I did like the way he was acting it up. And some of the jokes around his character were pretty good. But the story itself is just so dumb and very predictable. It is certainly one of the worst movies I have seen for this year. This movie gets an F. Did not like this movie at all. Don't see this film. Instead, go see the animated Alice in Wonderland and the 1999 live action Alice in Wonderland, which has Whoopi Goldberg as the Cheshire Cat and stars Martin Short as the Mad Hatter. Gene Wilder plays the Mock Turtle, and I forget who else is in the movie. Oh, Ben Kingsley plays the Caterpillar. It is a much better film than this garbage, and the special effects in the 1999 made-for-TV Alice is much better than this Tim Burton trash.